Hello everybody, welcome back. Mr. Brian's Amazing World, and winter is here. It's finally really starting to get cold. I know it's coming in tonight. The temperature's going to plummet. So I'm out here getting the boiler all ready. I mean, as you can see, we've been burning some wood, but not really a whole lot of it this year. Luckily, I mean, we're in the beginning of January, and we got a nice, good, dry wood ready to go. But the biggest thing right now, gearing up for this temperature change, kind of been idling along, just throwing a piece or two in there every once in a while. And now, time to open it up and get this sucker cooking a little bit. And you can still see, I mean, it's just still idling along. We'll throw some pieces in there, stir this up, and this thing will rage, start making us the heat we need. Now, this outdoor wood boiler, managed to build this 15 or so years ago now. Make sure you check out a couple of our other videos we have on building the boiler and what we did for that, and other tips and tricks on how this works. But for this particular video, I really just wanted to show you it up and running in the wintertime. And what we have to do, basically, as it gets colder, to start shoveling the wood in and just grab some pieces, toss them in a couple times a day. Now, I like to do this 3 times a day, and people are ridiculing me. Oh, 3 times, I only have to do mine twice. Yes, you can only do it twice, but I don't load this much. If I load it enough that I'm burning it 2 times a day, it overheats the house. It gets hotter than I need it, and the boiler just, it doesn't work as efficiently. If I keep the perfect fire going, it'll burn all day, all night, no problem. And you need to stir it every once in a while. So by throwing, okay, the fire died here, I add a piece or 2 over there, boom, that stuff lights up. It sits there for a little bit and smolders and goes. Like, I mean, this one piece of beech that I have in there, that's green. And here's a big old chunk of pine. That's from a, kind of hard to tell, but that's from a log home. A piece of the siding for it, like a whole chunk of the log. It's like, hey, I'll take that, why not? So, works really well. I have, I can fit like 4 feet long stuff, maybe a little longer if I go on a diagonal through there. And it's nice to have a big door. It is well insulated. I mean, it's only 2 inches thick. And sure, the inside gets really hot, but the outside, I mean, it's warm. I can put my hand right on that all the time. It's nice. Definitely make sure you do that if you're going to be building your boiler. You don't want to have something that's so hot, warps and burns you every time you touch it. This thing, it has just a little air draft down below, and you can see the coals and the fire glowing through that thing at night. It's kind of neat. The little eyeballs, if you will. Overall, when you first open it, you'll get the face full of smoke. That's why you have smoke protection there, and well, you'll see a little bit coming through. And as long as you have a decent fire, I mean, there's nothing coming out of that chimney except for some good heat. So it burns really clean and efficiently and works pretty well. I love it. I mean, this thing has saved me an absolute fortune in the last bunch of years by just burning it. And I make a few little improvements here and there by improving the insulation value. And, well, the cat has a nice little spot that she lives in down there. We have electric out here, so you have a light so you can see what you're doing at night. Definitely helps digging through the wood pile. Luckily, as far as our wood pile goes, you can see I have a lot of pieces that are split. Some of these small pieces are great to start fires, and then I have these big chunks. You throw these big chunks in there, and then you build a little fire right over it, on top of it, and these little guys fall into coals and keep these big ones burning. Just keep tossing them in as you need them. It's really kind of neat. Gets you out of the house in the wintertime, and I actually enjoy it. Doesn't take long, and I find the best thing to do is just throw it in there and walk away, and it's going to do the best. If you try to really blow on a fire and get it going, now you're wasting your time. That's kind of what this guy here is for. If you need fire, you put a box or 2 in there, you hit this a few times, light it up, and again, walk away. Let this do it. Don't sit there and spend a half an hour, an hour trying to get your fire going, because you got better things to do. But I'm going to keep loading this up. Yeah, you know, maybe I'll put 10 more pieces in it. This way it's good. It starts to really build the water temperature up, because, well, with the temperature dropping, I have radiant floor heating in the house, and I'm going to do a video on all my piping system pretty soon on that, and how it works, and why we do the way we do, what we do in there. But when you have a real cold front coming through, you need to build your water temperature beforehand, or else all of a sudden the winds are going to come and they're going to suck the heat out of your house, and you won't have that instant heat in the floor that you need. Because, well, with the radiant floor heat, I'm using a whole garage floor as a giant heat sink. So I want to raise the temperature 5-6 degrees today if I can before it gets cold tonight, and that'll help really keep the house warm when we have a massive temperature plummet. At the same time, it works in reverse. Once it warms up a little bit, all of a sudden this thing's raging and you see the temperature warming up. If you don't lay down on your fire a little bit, it'll cook you right out of your house. Not really the funnest thing in the world if it gets too hot like that. Now, other things with this boiler, I mean, I don't know if you can really see in here too well, but I do have my chimney back up here, and you pull and clean that out every once in a while. This flat shovel works great. Just take and scrape it along the top like that, knock your creosote down. If you clean the walls, you can see some of this goop on the side. It's kind of hard to push with one hand to do this. You can almost see it peeling away there. And back to pure steel. That steel's 15 years old. It still looks like the day I put it in. Absolutely great. Nice 1/4-inch thick machine, contraption, whatever you want to call it. And it's neat. I like coming out here and just watching this thing burn sometimes. And yes, you burn a lot of wood, but it keeps you in shape, gets you outside. I really seem to mind the winter too much anymore. I guess the best thing is, well, I'm saving a fortune in heating costs. Fortune in heating costs keeps me young, keeps me fit, gives me something to do. And heck, now I'm making videos about it. Who would have thought? I never ever would have thought when I was making this that one day I would be making videos about this boiler and getting tons of questions. Again, questions, feel free, comment. I'll answer any comments and questions you have. But I never thought it would be this interesting to everybody else. And they seem to really get a kick out of this. The chimney, it's a nice 8-inch chimney with a 12-inch outer round and pulled out of an old townhouse. Nice and good. I mean, my hand can go right on the outside and it's not even hot. Anywhere you want to go, and that's right off the back of the box. Insulation's just kind of tucked in here. It is fiberglass insulation, so it's not going to burn. You don't have to worry about that. This little just tin shed that I threw on there helps protect it from the weather and holds your insulation together. Again, having a little power is kind of nice. At least I have it out here if I ever decide to put a power fan in there. Get a little more draft. But, God, for a boiler, you can see, I mean, it's just sitting there, even after throwing the wood in, very, very little soot coming out of their smoke. Key is to really burn dry wood. If you're burning wet wood, that's where most of your smoke is going to come from. There's even a wet piece in there. It's still not really smoking much. But you'll get the best burn, you'll get the best heat. It'll light right up and work best. And, God, it saves you so much time having good dry wood. And yes, it's a little bit more work, but having a good reserve is key. What I kind of do here, maybe I can show you how I do all this. The front part of the wood pile I pull in first. And you know, as you're starting to fill it, well, you fill from the back and you work your way in, and then winter gets here and you start burning through some of this a little bit. And I get new stuff that I dump right here in front of it, and I cut this and split this and stack this. And now I will fill this middle part back in and work my way back out of here. Now what I'll do is I'll leave this alone and I'll come in over here on the side. All right, and by working away on this side, and I made this a little extra large this year so we have a little more volume, kind of, even though this is in the weather, I figured I'd burn through it before the snow really got here. Now I'm coming in through the side and I'm going to work my way in this way. Now here's why. As I'm filling in over there, throughout the winter, it's going to be cold, it's going to be windy, it's going to be snowing. That part's going to get protected and blocked and have a chance to dry out. Meanwhile, I can come in here, I'll leave this whole back wall and the whole other side until springtime when it's not so darn cold. And it gives you a little protection and cove, if you will, to go in and get your wood and stay dry, kind of out of the weather. And then you have really good dry wood in the deep part of the winter, because, you know, we're in the beginning of January, but it's coming. It's really going to hit us hard soon. And again, then I don't feel bad that I'm filling this all up with green wood, and maybe it'll be a little drier in the spring if I actually need it. Look, maybe I'll get lucky. I won't even need this stuff until next year, and it has a chance to dry, and I just have to fill in some of the voids that I was taking from for this winter. Other than that, I guess I kind of have to get back to cutting some firewood here, because we're going to need more. Sun's going down, and I can feel the temperature changing right now. It's getting a little bit moist in the air, but at least, you know, hardly anything coming out of the top of that boiler. Decent little fire, just puffing along inside. You always stand back when you first do it, and that's all it needs. I mean, you don't have to have a big raging fire. And right underneath these coals, if you watch some of my other videos, you'll see the pipes that I have zigzagging back and forth here. So those coals are sitting right on the pipes. Really helps with the residual heat. Now, you don't have a whole lot of heat going down, but you still have heat there. And You'll also notice it's almost as if there's two separate fires, one here and one over there. That works as well, because if I keep some big green stuff or something that I need to dry out sitting in the middle of that, you can kind of use that as an insulator and push more of your heat towards the surface areas that are heating your boiler out on the outsides, for example. And if I'm needing to make quick heat or more heat by having it burn over there and burning over here, it's kind of, as opposed to just one fire in the middle, I'm getting a little bit more residual heat out of that. Little bonus thing I've learned through the years. But I guess you need to check out the other videos. They're going to give you more tips and more in-depth stuff on this. There's quite a few of them at this point, and I really like them. I would get one of these if you have the chance. Now, by building this, I saved $8,000 to $10,000 or so on it, and well, I figure it's probably been $35,000 at least in propane costs that I've saved through the years by having this, and it kept me in shape. So I don't have the beer gut. I don't know. That's a perk right there, just to get out and get one of these things. And now I'm able to make videos about it. I mean, come on. That's really cool. That's the coolest part of this whole thing now, is that videos are being made about it. And people want to actually see these videos. But thanks a lot. You have a great day. Mr. Brian's Amazing World.